Hello and welcome to the in-depth series of Drishti IAS. You must be reading about the governor of Kerala's sorting of resign from certain vice chancellors of universities in Kerala. The entire row has become a political one, but let's clear the political clouds and understand what is the issue basically. From the perspective of GS mains paper second, that is the polity part, and from the perspective of prelims, the facts are important. What has happened? First of all, let us look at that. Vice chancellors of 9 universities in Kerala, they were asked to resign from their posts. This was asked by the governor 𝐈𝐀𝐒 𝐏𝐫𝐞𝐥𝐢 according to a Supreme Court decision, recent decision. This is the main point that we have to understand what is happening, where the origin of the entire issue started from. Srijit PS, who was the former dean of the engineering faculty of Cochin University of Science and Technology, he went to the Kerala High Court for understanding that the vice chancellors who have been appointed for few universities, it is not sitting well with the UGC regulations, specifically UGC regulations 2010, and which had subsequent amendments made to it in June 2013. They have not been specifically adopted by the state government. This is the entire issue. The Kerala High Court dismissed his plea, and after that he went to the Supreme Court. Then the Supreme Court on Friday held as illegal and void ab initio the appointment of Rajashree MS and the Vice Chancellor of APG Abdul Kalam Technological University, that is in Thiruvananthapuram. And this is the build-up that we had to understand. It was said that because the search committee which should be there for the appointment of the Vice Chancellor according to the protocol, it was not duly constituted, and because of that, the appointment as it was done, it flouted the University Grants Commission norms. Alright. Moving ahead, if we talk about the UGC regulations, they were adopted by the state government in October 2010. And according to it, all the universities shall incorporate the UGC regulation in their statutes and regulation within 1 month from the date of the issue. And it also said that government will initiate steps to amend the acts of the universities. Whatever different acts every university is guided by, it will be amended according to the new rules and acts. And it also said that merely if you say that the 2013 regulation, this is what the Supreme Court has said, merely if you say that the amendments to the rules which were made in 2013 were not incorporated by the state government, it does not mean that there is a ground by the state to contend that amendment to the regulation shall not be binding on the states, because the state themselves have not done it. So how can you say that because we have not accepted these rules, we cannot amend our regulation? That means you have to move by the norms of the UGC rules only and not accordingly try to get yourself in. Now, who is a Vice Chancellor? A Vice Chancellor is a person who is considered the principal academic and executive officer of the university. He or she shall function as a bridge between the executive and the academic wing of the university. That means he or she must be a person with values, personality, characteristics and integrity, in addition to academic skills as well as administrative experience that they must have. Moving ahead, now if we talk about the appointment, then the appointment is guided by UGC minimum qualification for appointment of teachers and other academic staff in universities and colleges, and other measures for the maintenance of standards in Higher Education Regulation Act of 2018. Okay, so the visitor or the chancellor, who is in case of state universities, it is normally the governor, shall appoint the VC out of the panel of names recommended. Two things that we have to keep in mind over here is panel of names. Alright. And this panel of names is suggested by the search cum selection committee. So for recommending the panel of names, we have to understand that there is a committee, search cum selection committee, which is constituted to look into the merits of the people they are shortlisting to serve as the Vice Chancellor, and then it goes to the visitor or the chancellor, which is in state universities generally the governor. Moving ahead, let us talk about the other section. Section 13 clause 4 of the University Act of 2015 says that the search committee shall recommend unanimously. There should not be any sort of diversion in opinion. A panel of not less than 3 suitable persons. Another very important aspect. that the list should consist of minimum 3 persons. From amongst the eminent person in the field of engineering sciences shall be placed before the visitor or the chancellor, that is the governor. Alright, moving ahead. Now, in the present case, what went wrong actually here? That the name of only one person, respondent number 1, was given for the post of the Vice Chancellor, and that was the Rajasree's name, whose case was that. So it supposedly, because of that only, because there were no other names, only one name was recommended, no choice was given. Because of that, it dehoors and or is in contrary to the provision of the UGC regulation as well as to the University Act of 2015. That is why you can say the appointment was invalidated. What is the role of the governor over here? As I already told you that with respect to state universities, the visitor or the chancellor is the governor. So in most cases, the governor of the state is the ex-officio chancellor of the universities in the state. But we know that the governor shall work in accordance with the opinions of the Council of Ministers. But when he or she is acting as a chancellor, then they can work independently. That means they can act independently of the Council of Ministers and act according to their own discretion. Moving ahead, let us talk about the other point, that what happens now. One thing that we have to understand, none of the VCs resigned. They in fact, went to the Kerala High Court to challenge the resignation seeking. So Vice Chancellors can continue till Governor takes decision on show cause notice. This was mandated by the Kerala High Court the same day. Then the conflict between the Kerala Chief Minister P. Vijayan has arisen with respect to this particular move of the governor, saying that the governor is acting a tool of the RSS and calling that the order of the governor is undemocratic and encroachment on the Vice Chancellor's power. Another thing is that earlier the CM instructed the VCs not to resign. So this has become a bone of contention between the political and the constitutional head, we can say. So let us look at this particular question for you to understand. Which of the following come under the concurrent list of the Indian Constitution? Education, forest, trade unions, marriage. So you have to answer it correctly using the following codes. That's it. Thank you so much for watching.